Internet! I am very excited for this patron review brought to you by the great Michael McCarstle today, tonight, right now. I don't know if you're watching this during the day or during the night, who knows? But in these moments, we're about to be starting Batman and Robin. Now this, as of recording, is available on HBO Max. I'm going to be watching it on Blu-ray, so I'll let you know when I count down. Hey, it's working. Me 10 seconds ago. I'm going to be pressing from 0 on my Blu-ray. There doesn't seem to be any alternate editions, so it should be good to go wherever you're watching Batman and Robin. Now this is the Joel Schumacher, George Clooney magnum opus. Those that hate on Joel Schumacher for the Batman movies seemingly don't realize he is a master director with so many great pieces of work like Phone Booth and Lost Boys and Phantom of the Opera and Flatliners, but he is most known for these two Batman movies that follow the Tim Burton films. So we're going to be diving into those. This is brought to you by patron saint of Watchalongs, Michael McCarstle, so send him some love in the comments. He is smart enough to not have a Twitter, and I am jealous often. But yeah, you can thank him on Instagram or right here because the boy doesn't have a Twitter, and again, he's a wiser man than I. This is a film that helps to have a beverage for. This is some whiskey and chocolate milk because I'm an adult, but I'm also a child because I love what I love and it's delicious. And people shouldn't knock it till you try it. Chocolate milk and whiskey is delectable. All right, I've vamped for about a minute so people can queue up their Batman and Robin wherever they may roam. We are going to press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, Bat Nipples. All right, we are at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, Warner Brothers logo. All right, we are moving and grooving. Strap in, you lovelies. It's time. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Joel Schumacher Gotham is awesome, and I appreciate the cheese of this film. I mean, we open with the freezing of the Bat logo to set up the Bat puns to come. I'm very, very excited for it. Let's see. The chat, we got the great Michael McCarstle, who is the reason we're here. John Getz, who cannot join us at 10:15 in the PM because it is quite late. I do apologize for that. I was at the gym and then there was so much traffic on the way back, but it is great to have you, John, as long as you can join us. Joseph Ashley asks, why is Natasha Romanoff called Black Widow when she has spider-like powers like Spider-Man? She does not have spider-like powers when she has no spider-like powers. It's not about the powers, it's about the concept, like the spy, the Black Widow, the one that kills their mate after mating with them, or in this case, like taking advantage and then murder. It's like a spy trope more than it is about spider powers. And that's also what Michael McCarstle just said. Jesus Gaskell, I've been missing out on Koi for a month now. Shame on me, but I miss chatting comic book pop culture with the Koi Pond. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back. All right, we got Bat Nipples, we got Bat Butt, we got Bat Crotch, we got a lot of Bat Butt. Look at all of that. Thick, thick leather plastic over sex organs, plus cowl. I love me a good suit-up scene. I'm a fan of leaning all the way in. Based on DC Comics is a relative term. Michael Gough is the Alfred of both the Tim Burton films with Michael Keaton as well as Val Kilmer and now George Clooney, leading me to believe he will be the beginning of a shared universe conversation. I think it'd be really cool if the Michael Keaton Batman that shows up in the Flashpoint references multiverses and Flashpoint, because Alfred Gough being the first of them would be kind of cool because he's been the Alfred to multiple Batman. I doubt they'll do it, but it'd be kind of a cool way to tie it all in together. Alternate edition, sweet mercily. I definitely love an extended cut. Dude, Michael McCarstle, can you imagine more of this? It's already over 2 hours. Can you imagine? Oh, the dialogue is already zesty. Chicks dig the car, this is why Superman works alone. John Glover, who went on to be in Smallville playing Lex Luthor's dad. As Superman was mentioned, his name pops up on screen. And chicks do dig the car. All right, release the Schumacher cut. I know actually there is a campaign for the Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, which I would love. I don't know if there's more to this, but the bat nipples on Chris O'Donnell are erect. You can cut glass with those things. All right. Hello, Kelsey Kirkland. Welcome. UCF 810. Too many Batman, don't you think? No, I like having a lot of Batman. I like Batman movies, so I personally don't think so. No, Alfred. What a handsome bow tie. It does, and I do think that is the first time they acknowledge the existence of Superman. There are other references. I love that Commissioner Gordon's a cartoon in these. They do acknowledge a greater world in Batman Forever, but I do think that was the first direct Superman acknowledgement of a shared universe. Akiva Goldsman, quite the interesting filmography on that writer. My mom! My mom is in the chat. Hello, Mom. The Robin cycle is great. I agree, Michael. Look how cool Gotham is, though, man. Like, that gothic style that Joel Schumacher does so well. If you haven't seen Lost Boys, fix your life and watch some Lost Boys. All right, it begins. The ice. I want to give the first pun its due. They're all so bad. We got to give credit, though, to the makeup. The frozen face close-ups. Like, his skin is such a cool texture. Great work. I think it's Stan Winston. Also, his suit, like everything. I'm a fan of this whole Mr. Freeze as a comedic character. I want a rom-com that turns into a villain film, kind of like the Joker does, and have basically a sweeping romance with Mr. Freeze and his wife, and then the third act turn him into the villain. I think it'd be really cool to do a Notebook meets Mr. Freeze film. Fuck it, cast Gosling. I think he's the best option for a feature-length villain film. How do you open a movie with Batman, like, snowboard flying down a dinosaur? Like, how do you think that's gonna... And they do. And they do. Yeah, the skin, I agree, Michael. It's just such a cool look because it looks like he's actually frozen. Like, his skin doesn't look well. And there's so much attention to detail in all of this, and Chris O'Donnell's haircut is just an overgrown buzz cut. It's like fluffy. They could have done. Come on. I love that in every Batman movie, they found a way to incorporate goons tied to the villain. All of them. The Penguin had Joker-like goons. Obviously, the Joker has Joker goons. They had goons that are like, you know, Two-Face meets Riddler stuff, and now Ice Goons. And they do such a good job in all these films having like an ensemble. Like, these are like stage plays. Jesus says, I always thought Michael Douglas would be a cool Joker. That is an interesting one. I never thought of that one, but I would be about it. I love Michael Douglas. That'd be a very different take. Very sinister, like, crime lord Joker would be fun. I think Joker's one of those Hamlet-like characters that the great actors should play. Michael, I totally agree, especially, like, they really went for it. He said that, I do love that Dick is basically in the Nightwing suit in this, but with a cape. I totally agree. That Nightwing is a very iconic suit. They just throw a cape on it, and it totally works. I can't wait for them to finally do Nightwing. If you're not reading Nightwing right now by Tom Taylor and Bruno Redondo? I know his first name's Bruno. Bruno and Tom Taylor are killing it on Nightwing. It's only 3 issues into their arc. It's issues 78, 79, and 80, but it's the beginning of a new arc. Pick them up. It's some of the best stuff out of DC right now. The Nightwing book is exceptional. I don't know what we'll do. My phone's not overheating. I made sure it was cool in here. All right, we're back. It looks like we're back. I am currently at, let's see here. Okay, we've got, I can visually see. Oh, there we go. 8 minutes, 56 seconds. 8 minutes, 56 seconds. I'm going to press play again. I'm going to give you guys a second. I'm so sorry. I do apologize to anyone watching this later. I'm hoping this doesn't happen again. My phone is not overheating. Everything should be fine. Let's hope for the best. I'm going to press play. 8 minutes, 56 seconds. It's on Mr. Freeze. All apologies. All right. Play. All right, now we got a shot of the diamond going into Arnold's hand. Boom. Jesus says, can't wait for a Nightwing solo film. That Nightwing book is fan-frickin-tastic. I'm hoping that they flesh out the Bat family, Red Hood, and the Outlaws, spoiler, Robin, etc., etc. And by spoiler, I mean Stephanie Brown. There are so many Bat family characters they could do. And I know people are sick of Batman, or some people are sick of Batman. I'm not. But there's so much you can do. Puns. All right, we're going to space, the Ice Age. We have bat magnets, which remind me of the decade later Mission Impossible climbing on the outside of the building thing. You know, it's ahead of its time. Science was there. I can't imagine. This man had been the biggest bodybuilder in the world. He changed bodybuilding, then became an actor, then did this kind of insanity, became the governor, is just like, what a life. Also, he got out of like a country that was in a mess at the time. Like, what an experience. What a man. The Ice Age. Harbingers of your doom. It's so funny because like George Clooney could be a great Batman. It's the wrong tone altogether for him. Michael says, yeah, I'm excited to see where Tom Taylor goes with this run. The Amnesiac Rick Grayson didn't work for me overall. Me neither, to be honest. I'm really excited there's a fresh take, and I love Tom Taylor's work. I think that's the first time before George Clooney really speak exposition about why the stakes are high. Why was he wearing that? I mean, I guess if he had a rocket, I guess he'd always plan to escape like that, but man. We talked about it in Batman Forever that the costumes in Joel Schumacher's mind are like a Greek god aesthetic, like a statue. So that's why all the muscle striations and the butts and all those things. But I think it works in some ways, but it's fascinating the certain choices made on top of the muscle. Luigi Ferdinand said, oh my god, I used to watch this movie on bootleg VHS so many times as a kid. My mom's in the chat. We used to have this on VHS as well. We bought it, but VHSs were so expensive that we only had like a few that were bought. Most of them were taped off TV. This and Lost World were two of the ones that I like burned out. I watched so often, but they were like $30 or $40, so we didn't have a lot of bought ones. But this was one of them. I had to have Batman and Robin. Also, Mr. Freeze Joker-esque film, Heart of Ice episode of Batman the Animated Series. I'd watch the hell out of that. That's what I'm saying, man. Watch a Joker movie, Mr. Freeze. I think it'd be great. A rom-com. The CGI is actually not bad for the time. I was afraid it wouldn't hold up at all, but the CGI here is decent considering this was made that long ago. It holds up. It's better than some stuff now, to be honest. And yes, a cowabunga. How cool does Gotham look? We're sky surfing in Gotham. And then Mr. Freeze is using the eyes to slow his descent. The visuals are great. It's just the writing's rough. The tone is rough. Michael says, although I have an inherent disdain towards any and all amnesia stories, I've never liked them. Same except for Bourne. There's exceptions, but overall, it's not my thing. It seems easy. It had some standout moments, but it just rubbed me the wrong way. It went on too long. Completely agree on all counts, and the exception being Bourne and some other things, but yeah. My mom says now all of the VHS tapes are at my mom's, aka the Mama's house, for the great grandkids to enjoy. Yep, we got Batman and Robin. If the magnet isn't worn out, if the tape isn't worn out, it is still available. Oh no, Robin's been frozen. What would this have been like to film? To be on this set with a frozen Robin, Arnold spitting those lines, that insane light up suit. I want to see that suit in the museum. Like the lighting, the LEDs are so rad and so early. Like this movie is way before LEDs were cheap. That neon suit's great. Michael says, yeah, this was a solid attempt to bring in the Batman animated series Gotham to life. I completely agree. There's a lot that works here, a lot that doesn't, but there's a lot that does work. Coy Cube coming back next week. Yes, can't wait to talk about the new Batman series and other things. It is 100% going to be back next week. On Tuesday, we will be doing a Coy Cube. I was with Jim Starlin and a new indie duo talking about their book, Slow City Blues, this week. So I was at Golden Apple doing a bunch of interviews. The only reason that didn't happen this Tuesday. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about the Venom trailer. We'll talk about Batman. We'll talk about Superman. Talk about all that stuff on Coy Cubed on Tuesday. Promise. Thank you for wanting it. Sometimes you need to use a laser to melt your partner, and, you know, I love the belt having, like, everything possible. Oh, we got Poison Ivy's debut. So I was young, so this was my introduction to Uma Thurman, so it's really funny to watch, you know, Pulp Fiction years later and be like, oh, different character. For all that can be said about the script in this movie, the overall production design is awesome. Yeah, if they changed the tone and used the same sets, and like even George Clooney, it could have been really different and special, but they wanted to sell toys. And putting so many villains in it, Freeze, Poison Ivy, and Bane, is insane. Queuing this up for trivia goodness. Even the like Arkham designs and stuff they used in the last one, like all this really works. Yeah, 97, I was 9. So this was very early into me understanding any of these actors. Now we have Lionel Luthor. Yeah, June of 97. I wasn't even 9 yet. God damn, that's crazy. I mean, at the time, this worked for Bane. It's obviously not the Bane we know and love from the comics, but I'm very excited for the continued Bane evolution. In later interviews, Schumacher blamed studio pressure to make the film more toyetic, a showcase for marketable toys and games and a making-of documentary. So yeah, it could have been a very different thing with everything Schumacher had tried to build. When filming is over, George Clooney just quipped, I think we just killed the series. Also, George Clooney famously will refund you the money that you spent on tickets to this if you run into him on the streets. I did love the toys, Michael McCarstle said. My mom said Coy loved the toys too. Still a lot of them. Might be a pack rat. Yeah, but you still have some of these toys. Bane also be a cool character to a Joker-esque film with as well. Yeah, I think Bane is Batman's psychological equal and physical superior. You could totally do a Bane story, especially the Tom King stuff that I love dearly. The I Am Bane stuff. Yeah, this sequence terrified Michael McCarstle as a toddler. Basically torture. I was a little older, but it definitely freaked me out. This and Lost World were like the two spooky movies I watched. Also, speaking of Poison Ivy, it's been said that Margot Robbie wants her in the DCEU. We'll see. I mean, I don't really believe the DCEU exists. They don't really know what they're doing yet, so time will tell. The extended universe to me is not possible with how many things they have going in different directions. But Flashpoint can change all that with one movie. They can... Also, Bane in general in this movie is just terrifying. The veins, the monster Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde thing they get going. But yeah, Poison Ivy would be great in like a Harley Quinn movie or in Birds of Prey or any of the corner that Harley's in. I just don't know if Poison Ivy would work in. There is no DCEU. I don't know if she'd work in the Matt Reeves Batman or the other things that are separate. Oh wow, that's a good point. This is the first and only appearance of Batgirl in a live-action feature film. We've obviously had the show, we've had animated, but this is the only one in live action. George Clooney says this is both the biggest waste of money as well as the biggest break he's ever had because it did lead to him being a blockbuster star, which is fascinating. Mr. Freeze has 27 ice puns throughout the film. If Margot Harley gets another movie, they can certainly give us a try. Yeah, they give us an Ivy. I do think we're going to get another Birds of Prey, and I do think that would be a great place for Poison Ivy. I also think there's the option to do something post-Suicide Squad with Harley. So I'd love to have the two of them lead a film. Just Glover chewing the scenery. I mean, everyone is here. This is a very cartoonish sequence. Somehow Batman the Animated Series is less cartoonish than this live-action cartoon, which is just ironic. The Adam West movie didn't have Batgirl. I don't know. I'm going off IMDb trivia, but I don't believe so. Looking it up. There's the origin of Poison Ivy. Looking into it. Okay. Batgirl TV short he was in. Looking up Adam West's Batman film career. He's also not a bad Bruce Wayne. Yeah, I think there's only one. Yeah, I think it was just the show, Michael. I'm not 100% sure, but I think so. Also, another horrifying sequence for children. We had the Poison Ivy freak out. We had the freeze. Diamond Hands lasers for cold. That's how cold works. George Clooney, so handsome. I felt so bad for Alfred in this film. They do such a good job endearing us to him. I really wanted to be Chris O'Donnell so bad. He's such like a whiny little Robin. Like, it was the cool thing to do, and it's just like, as an adult looking at the character, like, man, I wanted to be Robin, but I don't now. So edgy. They did get rid of the earring edginess, though. Will we ever have all Batgirls in one comic? I think they have in the team-up books, but there's a lot of Batgirls. There's like so much Bat Family. There's too much Bat Family to keep track of it all. Michael Go's performance as Alfred is one of the most consistent things about the first four movies and one of the least talked about things about the first four movies. Even while everything else is chaos, he is so interesting and endearing. Michael says, if it was the 90s, that was the peak of Dick being edgy. It's true. That's true. You're not wrong. That was exactly what was happening in the comic books. This was the era of like Con-El and Superboy as Con-El on the island with Bombshell, I think was her name. Kyle Rayner was Green Lantern. Everything was edgy. I love Kyle Rayner, but everything was edgy. Yeah, I couldn't tell you who was in the Bat family now. There's too many. It also changes depending on the writer, so it could change by each issue, each run, so... Schumacher had several meetings with WB trying to convince them to... Oh, I remember being very confused about how hot this was as a child, because I was like 9, but like this, as you got older, was like, goddamn. And obviously that's the character, but very confusing as a 9-year-old. I also would love to see Poison Ivy get her own movie. Like an environmental scientist, environmental perspective film. Just like the Harley Quinn show, which I'm finally watching and it's exceptional. Tying in Bane and Poison Ivy was an interesting choice, but it works here. I love how much fun every actor is having making this movie. This whole monologue's great. I don't know what that accent is, but it's certainly a choice. There's so many jokes and then exposition back and forth. Jeff says, been meaning to do a drinking along to Batman and Robin. At the very least, take a big drink to every ice pun. It's bold. There's 27 of them, but yes, that is an option. Look at this Gotham. Look at this Gotham. Michael McCarstle, yeah, this is one of those Princess Leia and the bikini moments for me as a kid. Completely agree. And Ivy's theme is great. It's a solid score. So after this, Schumacher wanted to make a Batman Year One with Kurt Russell as young Commissioner Gordon and Selena Kyle as a young African-American woman living in the ghetto. Some of those things are being adapted forward, but they ended up going with Batman Begins, obviously, and Chris Nolan. But that would have been an interesting take around that Darren Aronofsky period. Arnold, after this film, had to get heart surgery, and this was in 97, and he didn't get work again until End of Days in 99. Speaking of that monologue, Uma Thurman felt the campy and farcical tone fit the film, and she enjoyed the creative license she was given in regards to her character, and credits Batman and Robin as less of a career killer and more of her first real experience with a high-budget Hollywood blockbuster. He looks so cool. Cool. There will be a season 3 of Harley Quinn. I think it drops later this year. Anytime Michael hears the song, he thinks of this movie, which is a great way to live. I love there's like a diamond gauge. How would it even... Science. Where do you get a diamond of that size? That's like a 1 of 1 diamond. How do these diamonds exist? He's got like 12 of them. I love that this is a cartoon. Like I said, Batman the Animated Series, less of a cartoon than this. This was the last Batman film Bob Kane got to see. He died 1 year after the film was released. And the sequence is actually kind of sweet. Like, you know, the Mr. Freeze and his lady are very much piece the comic books and actually do a decent job with it here. We talked about a Nightwing thing. In 2012, Chris O'Donnell confirmed that a Robin Nightwing spinoff was planned alongside Batman Unchained. However, he reported the plans were scrapped after the poor reception of this film. So there was a Robin Nightwing planned. This movie is so goddamn quotable. Look at how 90s these outfits are. What is that extra, extra large turtleneck happening? That man is rich. Why is he wearing a Goodwill sweater? What is going on? Did Catwoman have Batman baby in comics? If so, he has 2 baby mamas. He has many baby mamas. Ty Al Ghul for one. That vest, unacceptable. That vest, t-shirt combo, and the necklace. What's happening 1997? I guess I would have worn that shit in 97. Wait, why does she have an English accent? She's so clearly American. Voiceover, cutaway exposition, and ridiculous leather jacket. Maintaining the turtleneck. George Clooney, making moves. Michael would wear that outfit now. And that is bold, sir. That is bold. I respect it. Braver man than I. Hitman. Hello, sir. Sco. That was one of the first movies I saw in the theater. No shit. I saw this in theaters too, actually, but I barely remember it. I was very young, but one of mine as well that I remember. What is the Catwoman baby name? It depends on the continuity. The baby usually isn't a part of main continuity. Damian Wayne is Talia al Ghul and Batman's baby. And there are some continuities for Catwoman, but they're mainly like what if alternate universe stuff. Thank you. I love my pillows too. They're preposterous. I guess she could have grown up in the US. It's just they didn't really give... 5 years ago, her parents died. She went to London, but you're right. But still. I'd wear that leather jacket now. That's fair. More importantly, I want Alfred's silk pimpin' gasoline bathrobe. Look at that fucking thing. That is gangsta. Thank you, Michael. I could not come up with the name. Helena is one of the continuities, Batman, Catwoman daughter, and sometimes she is a vigilante herself. Helena, thank you. Like I said, Bat family, real big. Peggy! There's a Martha moment with Alfred and Captain America just waiting to happen. They both yell Peggy. They stop fighting. Alfred Pennyworth, fashion icon. I mean, look at that! He's got the ascot and the silk robe. Gee. She doing the same thing that the great Chris O'Donnell did in Batman Forever, mirroring his growing into the role of the vigilante Robin, but this exact same sequence. Similar music cues, similar setup from the last movie. Also, jumping on a motorcycle. Arnold previously appeared as himself in a photograph at Max Schreck's office in Batman Returns. I never knew that. Thank you, IMDb. Apparently there's a photo of Arnold as Mr. Freeze in Batman Returns, or just as Arnold. I love the architecture in Gotham. I really hope this next Batman movie has dope architecture like this insanity, and maybe some Dutch angles. If not for this being universally negatively received, 2 sequels have been planned. Batman Unchained, a direct sequel, would have George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell reprising their roles, with no immediate plans for Alicia Silverstone to return, and would have had Scarecrow and Harley Quinn as the main villains, with cameos from many other characters through Scarecrow's tear gas. The film is going to take the film back to its darker roots. The other film was the Robin Nightwing spinoff I talked about. It is speculated that if films beyond Batman and Chamber to be made, O'Donnell would be Nightwing rather than Robin. The idea remained in limbo until parts of the plot were reworked for 2015's Batman Arkham Knight. So, if you enjoy the Arkham Knight games, some of that DNA was going to be the darker way the movies went. Second Batman film in which the main villain was billed over the actor playing Batman. Arnold was billed over George Clooney, just as Jack Nicholson was billed over Michael Keaton in 89's Batman. This being sci-fi in 89 or 97 is so funny because this is very usable, standard now. Val Kilmer was asked to go and play Batman again, but he was already filming The Saint, and since Schumacher and Kilmer clashed, it was very convenient to recast, but people were expecting, and maybe there was even contracts for VK to come back. A young Elle Macpherson. John gets it. Call William Bibiani to get those Dutch angles going. He is the master of the Dutch angle. He and Schumacher, Dutch angle kings. Titans returning. If not, should actors play Starfire the next X-Men Storm? I never got into Titans as much. I would love to see an unknown get to play Storm, but I've heard she's great, so why not? Are there any comic books that are LA-based besides West Coast Avengers? The Hawkeye Kate Bishop series is, absolutely. There are others, but that's the first one that jumps out of my head. There's not a lot. LA doesn't get a lot of love in comic books. People Come First. Interesting, being that he's a billionaire destroying the planet, which would be viewed very differently now, versus a person seeing the planet, because we've gotten much farther into things tanking. A diamond, you say? John says, can't wait for Clooney in the Flash movie. Just when all hope seems lost, he throws out a bet credit card to trip up Yamart. Never leave the cave without it. Just Uma, just chewing the scenery, just chewing it. Also, we got a message from AJ Lancaster earlier. AJ Lancaster wanted to let us know that He can't make it to the Batman and Robin screening tonight. He's going to watch it later. But the cigars that Arnie smokes in this film were hand-delivered to him on set by John Bon Jovi. John Bon himself brought those cigars, friend of Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the John Bon. Cartoon. This is a cartoon. I'm sorry, I'm talking all through this movie. That's why we're here. I apologize. Here we are. Oh, I've been saying it's a cartoon this whole time. That's hilarious. According to John Glover, Joel Schumacher would, quote, sit on a crane with a megaphone and yell before each take, "Remember everyone, this is a cartoon." It was hard to act because that kind of set the tone for the film. So it's intentionally a cartoon. This movie gets more fascinating. More and more fascinating. His skin is so cool. I can't get over how cool his skin looks on Blu-ray. Fun fact, this movie actually needed new scenery because it was all eaten halfway through filming. The fact that he made it halfway with this many actors just chewing it, very impressive. There was a lot of scenery to chew. Joseph Ashley says, "I'm trying to write my own comic in Los Angeles, but hard to create a city with no personality, unlike New York." There's personality, but you have to think of it as multiple different pockets of personality. Like, Silver Lake has a personality, downtown has personality, Culver City has personality, the West Side has personality. You've got to find your pockets, and once you find and identify your pockets of LA, then you can give it the tone, the heartbeat that you're looking for. LA has a heartbeat. It's just multiple hearts. Like cows have multiple stomachs. You got to find your different cow stomachs. Arnold and John Bon make an awesome hair magic. Commissioner Gordon, again relegated to the supportingest of supporting roles. Only the mustache is from the comic books. Curtis Mason just popping in to say hi to the koi pond. I have to wake up early, so I'll have to catch you all next time. Good night. Thank you for coming in, Curtis. Good to see you. This club is nuts. More parties when the world comes back like this. Also, get me Batman and Robin. I've been to parties with dancers like that. And there's actually a really great Cirque show in Las Vegas called Absinthe with like apes that do crazy like strip dances and like dances and stuff in very similar outfits to these ape suits. So Vegas actually has parties a lot like this, but I would like that to come back. Actually, you know what? The shows I've seen, I wonder if they were inspired by this scene. I never put that together. Like, there's a few shows, a few Cirque shows in Vegas with stripping apes, and now I'm wondering if that was a reference to this the whole time. And that's very funny to me. Transfixed Batman and Robin. Before she even pheromones him up. My mom just got some mint chocolate chip ice cream. That is correct. The neon fever dream on display for this scene is the way one should live. Clearly, the true Gordon is this mustache, unlike that that Gary Oldman hack, according to John Getz. I agree. Who the fuck is that guy? Yeah, this is the Princess Leia sequence for Michael McCarstle. I get it. Except this Princess Leia gets to be in a full-on cartoon. I can't wait for parties like this to come back. I miss LA. Come back, Los Angeles. What a silly score use. All of the sequence. Like, the movie's been nonstop for a while, and it slows down for, like, this is like a 4-minute zero dialogue sequence. Admittedly, to show the power of Poison Ivy, but it's very funny. This is probably the only sequence without dialogue, or the longest sequence without dialogue. Again, that transatlantic accent, that like weird 20s actress accent. Fascinating choice. Chris O'Donnell's sideburns! Here it comes. There it is, with the sound effect. Ching! $7 million. Remember, everyone, this is a cartoon. The mobility they managed to get in these suits is actually really impressive, especially considering like later on. Physics. So much innuendo, Michael McCarstle. So much. There's so many dirty lines in that bidding sequence that we didn't get as kids. I do like that her plant-based lust with pheromones doesn't work on Mr. Freeze. That's a fun little bit. He's so good at puns. Clever little Clover. It's actually really interesting how much she looks like her daughter in this movie. Ethan, or no, sorry, not Ethan. From Stranger Things. Something Hawk, because it's Ethan Hawke's daughter. Maya Hawke. She looks a lot like Maya Hawke in this. I wonder if they're about the same age at this point. My hair is a lot. He like Clooney even like works in the cowl. There's so much like that works. 11 minutes, then everyone's dead. I'm leaving. New puns, John gets new puns. They're rare. You don't even notice them. It's subtle. Bane in that suit is amazing. It is a shame to relegate Bane to these silly lines, but it is a funny visual for this cartoon. Gotham is dope. I totally agree, Michael. The production design here is exceptional. I love all the strange 50s choices, the Art Deco design, the giant statues. Everything is just so interesting and specific. And we haven't really gotten that since. Causing a rivalry between the team. Very smart. Redbird. Never noticed that. It's a good Schmodown question. What's the name of Robin's bike? Redbird. Still just a hot-headed kid, Dick. I remember as a kid just like wanting to be Robin so bad and being like, stupid Batman. Those poor Batmobiles always getting thrashed. Even as a kid, even as a 9-year-old, what did he do to him? How did he just stun Mr. Freeze like that? Like, what did he do to cause the uh-oh and then the cape reveal? It's the weirdest, like, skip the fight moment in the series. Michael says the toys between this movie and Batman Forever made up so much of my childhood. They made so many toys. I still have the mugs, but so many toys. Why would it be Robin and Batman, bruh? You are the sidekick. You are not paying for shit. Under my house. This is my roof. You are the child, Robin. Oh God, I got old. Mom, when did I get old? Why am I... I'm dadding against Robin over here. For shame. Look at all the technology and science here. You gotta save stuff to CD. These compact discs recording the audio in these very special cases is the utmost in science. Look at the technology at display here. At one point, David Duchovny was rumored to take the role instead of George Clooney, and Duchovny was actually considered for Batman Begins. Very different take. After this failed, there was also a brief idea to do a Batman Beyond movie in 1999, which I still think they should do. The only film in the original Batman series that Tim Burton had no involvement. He even was a producer on Batman Forever. He didn't touch this one at all. They went through 50 rubber bat suits with all those cool stunts I was saying. It's impressive. The Batman costume itself was 50 pounds, a 50-pound rubber suit with a 40-pound rubber cape. Holy shit, that's a heavy cape. attached to the headpiece. Batgirl and Robin's costumes weighed 50 pounds each. Mr. Freeze's weighed 75. It's a good thing Arnold works out. Wait, yeah, we cut away from Batgirl doing the same thing like an hour ago. What happened to that sequence? I guess she snuck out and snuck back in? It's the first Batman movie to not be the highest grossing movie of the summer it was released. Oh, okay, so she did come back. It's just, that's a poorly edited sequence. More Arkham goodness. This was actually part of what got Superman Lives shut down. After the film's negative reception, plans for Tim Burton's Superman Lives had been shut down. The movie would have been the first attempt to have a shared universe between Batman and Superman, with George Clooney coming back as Batman, Nicolas Cage as Superman. You know, obviously, Schnepp and I talked about Nicolas Cage, Superman often. I never realized that would have been a shared universe here. Man, that's fascinating. Imagine George Clooney's Batman and Nicolas Cage as Superman. What a fucking weird time that would have been. My mom said you can hear some feedback from the TV. Okay, I'll turn it down a little bit. Thank you very much, Mother. The irony of Batman shutting down Robin's bike and the Batmobile immediately getting frozen is palpable. It's true. Freeze. Great traps. Oh, you could still play a teenager in a 90s horror movie, Coy. You're good. That's true. That's true. I still get that 90s teenager, early 30s ability. You might be old, Coy, but I'm not. LOL. No, Mom. No, Barbara just went repeatedly over the course of her stay. At least that's how I interpreted it. Yeah. I mean, it was a weird edit. And Michael, yes, it would be the most 90s crossover ever. If only. The makeup here, again, fantastic. Chilling sound of your doom. I didn't realize this. John Glover went on to play the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series. So John Glover has been Lionel Luthor, the Riddler, and the Dr. Woodrue of this film. I love this sequence so much, and I maintain it probably inspired one of my favorite music videos, Linkin Park, the Hybrid Theory album, One Step Closer, because this sequence is so dope and so cool. And I miss this stuff in Batman movies, these strange goon sequences. But it looks like in the Matt Reeves Batman, we will get stuff like this, because there is a set of goons in the trailer. You do feel very bad for Freeze. Man, the black light is so cool. Oh, no shit. Barbara Wilson, as opposed to Barbara Gordon, she's the niece of Alfred here, as opposed to the daughter of the poorly not used at all Commissioner Gordon. The mother in that photo earlier in the film is Gloria Stewart, best known for playing Old Rose in Titanic, released the same year as this film. This film was delivered 2 weeks ahead of schedule, very rare. Arnold declined a sequel to play Conan the Conqueror, a Conan the Barbarian sequel, to play Mr. Freeze. cool. George Clooney is reported to opt out of playing a Green Hornet in a long gestating Green Hornet film to take the role as Batman. He'd be a great Green Hornet, or at least an interesting one. Kind of rough CGI, but it's still not bad for the time. Very expensive movie. This character of Julie Madison was one of the original love interests of Bruce Wayne from 1939. The ADR here is fascinating. What a weird sound, everything happening. Whoa, this is interesting. Besides Ed Harris and Patrick Stewart and Hulk Hogan and Sylvester Stallone, Anthony Hopkins was another choice for Mr. Freeze. He was also considered for the role of Alfred in Batman Begins. That would have been a different world. Even though this was considered a flop, this was Warner Brothers' highest grossing film domestically and worldwide in '97. Originally, the third film, Batman Forever, was going to be called Batman and Robin because it introduced Robin, and this film was going to be called Batman Forever, like Fast and the Furious. Detective work, zoom. Arnold Schwarzenegger only worked 6 weeks on this movie and made a reported $25 million. This was back when movie stars made a lot of money and studios' profits were very different. And yeah, most actors do not pull in anywhere close to that anymore. It's good to get a $10 million payday. $25 million for 6 weeks of work. It was a different time. The computer Alfred uses as a prototype will become the 20th anniversary Mac. Busta Buzz! It's not Busta Rhymes. Fast and Furious. If there was a crossover with Coolio's character that got one line there, and Coolio's character in Daredevil, the director's cut, two movies that could have better other cuts. There he is in that Burning Man jacket. Coolio, get after it. There's so many weird, just out-of-place sequences here, but I guess this does explain why she's been taking the motorcycle. And it does parallel the Robin stuff. This movie's just a lot. Yeah, we're back in the 90s fever dream. We liked neon in the 90s. All of these jackets are crazy. I like the Robin on Robin's helmet. We are right back to Linkin Park music video territory. Sure. But for real, this feels like a direct predecessor for Fast and Furious. There's a lot of, like, crossover flavor for sure in that sequence. Maybe this plus Fast and Furious and Biker Boys. There's a shared universe there. Remember Biker Boys? Like, the sequence is a good 6 minutes. But then again, the pacing in 90s action movies was very different. And the colored flame is dope. The colors in this are nutty. The actor who played Bane died unexpectedly of heart failure at the age of 40 after the premiere of this movie. That is so sad. He had the biggest biceps on record at the time. I did not know that. The actor that played Bane passed away soon after. Julia Roberts, Sharon Stone, and Demi Moore were all rumored for the part before Uma Thurman got it at Poison Ivy. Some sources suggest that Fairuza Balk was her also contender. Oh, that would have been cool, but she strongly denies it. If Sharon Stone was cast, it would have been the second time she worked with Arnold. Fairuza Balk would have been awesome. I'm a big fan of her. Uma's great, though. Batgirl, Alicia Silverstone, had a full helmet designed like Batman's, like in the comic books, complete with pointy ears, but it was rejected in favor of letting Alicia Silverstone's hair flow, and they got the Robin mask. The Batgirl action figures designed for the movie reflect the full head costume because the toy makers weren't informed of the change. So if you have Batgirl toys, it's the cowl versus the Robin mask because the hair. That's fascinating. Michael, you're asking about physics here, or geography. I never understood how they made it from the ground to that high up. No one knows. So many Batman the Animated Series moments. Like that right there. Jesse Ventura! Another governor, Jesse Ventura, seen here with Poison Ivy. The movie was such a bomb and ruined so many careers. There's actually a bad Batman curse associated. O'Donnell, Silverstone, and Schumacher all went into serious career slumps after this. Arnold and Clooney survived because Clooney was on ER. And he started being an A-list movie star after this. He credits this with getting him A-list status, but also the movie's bad. Barbara Ling, who's a production designer, we keep talking about production design, her influences for Gotham include Neon-Ridden Tokyo and The Machine Age. Gotham is like a World's Fair in ecstasy. I love that description. That is exactly what Gotham should be. Kevin Feige considers this the most important comic book movie ever made because its catastrophic failure forced major comic book companies and film studios to rethink how they presented comic book-based media. Fascinating. So Kevin Feige says this is the most important because it fixed things. That is, I love that. Yeah, Michael, they never really addressed that. Batman, Barbara's also acting like Alfred doesn't pull a ridiculous salary. That's a huge part of the comic books, is that Alfred is family and set. How did Batgirl get out of the wheelchair? She's not in the wheelchair until deep into her storyline, Joseph. Oracle is only some of her arc, and she's actually out of the wheelchair again now with a cybernetic enhancement in her spine. Like this, Alfred probably made more in a year's salary than I've made my entire life. He's not Bruce's slave. Yeah, Alfred's doing okay. So yeah, she wouldn't have been in the wheelchair yet. That's years into her run, and also she's gotten better. A guy named Arpad Busan, who I've never heard of, has kids with both Elle Macpherson, who plays Bruce's love interest, and Uma Thurman in real life. The original working title of this film was Batman Triumphant, which would have been the name for the follow-up film if this one hadn't tanked. The irony that this one was called Batman Triumphant and failed. Oof. And then the Nightwing spinoff. For some reason, it took Chris O'Donnell 4 hours to get into the Robin costume. That's fascinating. That does make sense. To quote another Batman movie, it's always darkest before the dawn. Feige makes a good point. Yeah, I really love that perspective. Michael also says, once a year, freeze morning, he goes around and says, always winterize your pipes. There are some of the best cheesy lines in the game here. Triumphant bat ears on that suit. Triumphant. Puns. Joseph asks, do you think the Signal will appear in Batman the Animated Series or this series based on the new movie? I think there will be a Bat Signal in both. I think Matt Reeves will find a way to incorporate the Bat Signal into some way to notify. I think there's going to be a lot of cool detective noirish stuff. The Bat Signal works that way. But it's definitely going to be in the animated series, and I almost guarantee it. Akiva, what are these words? What are these words you're writing? Alicia Silverstone was only 18 when they were making this. That's crazy. First sequel directed by Joel Schumacher. He was asked to direct sequels for Lost Boys, St. Elmo's Fire, and Flatliners, but refused. Fun political fact. One of 3 movies to feature 2 future United States governors acting in the same film. Jesse Ventura, who we noticed earlier, elected governor of Minnesota in '98, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor of California in '03. The other 2 were Predator and The Running Man. All 3 featuring Ventura and Schwarzenegger. Predator, Running Man, and this. Fascinating. Jennifer Love Hewitt also auditioned for the role of Batgirl, but production obligations kept her away from it. Alicia Silverstone's costume was later repainted and used for Barbara Gordon. Dinah Mayer played her Batgirl in Birds of Prey 2002. They actually used the same suit. That's interesting. Apparently Schumacher wanted Clooney because he was a gentler, kinder, and compassionate, less tortured and obsessed Batman, which he knew would bother some people who wanted to go that direction. Obviously, we've seen we want the more tortured Batman, and it works for the character. Gordon actually doing something. I love Freeze's hideouts just so bonkers for sure. Joseph, I agree. I hope to see Clayface in a film someday. Yeah, I agree with you and Michael. Clayface is such a great character, and it's so cinematic, and now the CGI is ready for it. We could totally have a Clayface work. I would love to see that character. Before he started directing Venom 2, I thought Circus would be a really fun Clayface. The actress who plays Freeze, his wife here, was actually in a relationship with George Clooney at the time. I just want to know the lighting people behind this film. The lighting is so much fun. It definitely is like one of the most Burning Man films of all time. Vivica A. Fox being the henchwoman side of Mr. Freeze earlier. Uma Thurman and Vivica A. Fox would later be in Kill Bill Volume 1. Tim Burton had originally wanted Gina Davis as Poison Ivy. That's a cool choice. The making of stuff about this film is just as crazy. Michael, I so badly wanted to swim in that vat of ice cream as a kid. I get it. These little, like, Jurassic Park, what's it called? What's that play? Little Shop of Horrors meets Jurassic Park plants. Adam and Evil. The fictional thing they invented for the wife to have, Alfred has here. The Coolio cameo was actually apparently an Easter egg setting up a fifth movie. Coolio was going to play Dr. Jonathan Crane, aka Scarecrow, according to some publications. Fascinating. Coolio as Scarecrow. This series of movies is insane. Wilfred and Alfred. Unoriginally naming parents right there, Wilfred and Alfred. She's gonna find out they're Batman. It's also, we're like an hour and a half in and she hasn't even come back girl yet. How dope is that building? God damn, that's cool. It's like the Griffith Observatory on top of a Greek god. We're about out of fun facts, gang. Sorry for the silence. I'm just watching the insanity. I guess they do give Commissioner Gordon more to do in this one. After 4 films, he at least is in a couple action sequences. Charged up with them diamonds. Wait, Michael asked, wait, is the location of the bat signal not just kind of common knowledge? Actually, I guess in some continuities it's not, because like it is like a reveal moment, but like on top of Gotham headquarters, you can follow the light. Like it seems like you can do that, but I remember that being a thing. Like we found it. Follow the light, dear villains. Oh. That Bane, he can lift a bat signal, I'll tell you. Look at that crazy Mac. Glowing 20-year anniversary MacBook. Michael Goh, so great. I wonder if he's related to Alfred Goh, who produces so much DC stuff. Alfred Goh and Miles Miller did like Smallville onward. I wonder if they're related. I like the flashbacks and like the Thomas Wayne reference earlier and all these things. Then Tom King went and killed Alfred in the comic books. We're still suffering through it. I thought it was a good way to change the stakes, but it hurts. It hurts. Also, watch Pennyworth and Epics. It's a great show. Tell the people you love you care about them, folks. Oh, oh. The change in tone excess. For love. Travis Earl says Batista for next band 100%. I think he's a bit on the older side. The man wants to not have to live at the gym, which I respect. Alfred's letter to Dick was just so many tears. Yeah, that Nightwing book is just so well written. Michael asks, how is Peggy a nickname for Margaret? I've wanted to know this for years. The same way Dick is a nickname for Richard. We have so many questions. Robert to Bob, I guess there's some letters. Bobbert is way more exciting. William to Bill, Billiam is more exciting. Richard to Dick? Margaret to Peggy? Poor Bane, just saying one word. I remember as a kid doing that. Boom! It's actually a lot of different work for Arnold's doing only 6 weeks. It's actually a really impressive filming schedule considering how ornate all the production design is and how much screen time he has. 6 weeks is impressive. Also, he apparently had a clause in his contract that he only worked 12 hours. Like, he'd only do 12-hour days. So he had to have, like, he'll massage him while he was getting into makeup because it was a lot. And then 12-hour days. So 6 weeks, 12 hours. It's impressive how much they got done with Arnold. AI Alfred, like Iron Man in the comics when he dies and then becomes the voice of Alfred. Fascinating. Batgirl, late in the game, suit up. Hers is the only suit you can tell is like a plasticky foam. Like the plasticky suits. It's a new kind of rubber apparently. But the weight on those things, I can't believe it's 50 and 40 pounds for the cape. That is insane. And 75-pound Mr. Freeze suit. Impressive. The Robin signal. Those suits are cool. Like, all these years later, they wouldn't work in a lot of stuff now, but like, it's a really cool way to present this cartoon world. Mom, I thought about wearing my Batsuit onesie for this watch along, but it is 80 degrees here, so I thought sweating through the watch along was a bad idea, but I like where your head's at. I thought about it. Awesome costume change, badass set, top to bottom aesthetics. I want another comic film to go this cartoon, because this is insane. This is so cool. This whole sequence. Now he's on the puns. Oh. Yeah, spandex can never be tight enough to be that shredded with the shoulder striations, so gotta fake it till you make it. I'm so curious what that cowl looked like. I mean, the hair is definitely like a very dynamic image, and this is a cartoon, but the cowl on her would have been cool. A long monologue for two characters to just stand over each other. A ridiculous death scene. Bat hand blade for plants. Never leave home without it. A PC joke in 1997 about Batgirl versus Batperson. Do I think Dr. Freeze would say Netflix and chill if it came out today, Joseph Ashley? That's very funny. And yes, I think there would be a Netflix and chill joke if this was today. In this tone. They wouldn't make that joke today, but this movie today, yes. Yeah, I can't imagine they could make the hair work without it sticking out like Goofy. I totally agree. But I'm just curious about... I mean, we've seen it in the CW. It's not great. But what they do going forward. Poor dog. And now they've got 11 minutes without everybody out. That's what we learned earlier with the exposition. I can't get over how great Gotham is. Every one of these we've watched since Michael McCarstle, and I skipped Batman 1 and went right to Batman 2 and onward. Gotham is just incredible. Michael also says, I did have action figures of her with the cowl, though. I can't remember for sure, but I think they just didn't have the hair. Yeah, I'd imagine it would tuck in. Oh my god, that Zamboni thing is ridiculous, and there's no way a bat bike could drive on ice, no matter how good a bat driver you are. I know they set up earlier, she raced bikes, but there's no way. Oh, there's a cowl? Wait a second. She had a helmet cowl thing. I guess that's something. I'd forgotten all about that. She has like with the helmet. I think the best Bruce Wayne so far is Christian Bale. To date. But I think George Clooney's a perfectly good Bruce Wayne. I think he was a better Bruce Wayne than Batman, but also they didn't really give him a lot to do as Batman because they made him so chill. That's not how that would drive. I come on. I mean, obviously there's no rules here, but come on. Apparently there's a deleted scene with this shield technology deflecting the freeze on his suit, where he shot at him with the suit and deflected back. So there was a little moment they deleted with the suits being protective against the ice as well. Yeah, I just totally forgot about the cowl altogether. So Michael had all these toys, and it was a different cowl altogether. I just forgot she had a... Yeah, there's a bat cowl on her helmet. I totally forgot about that. Oh man, this is fun. These sound stages, I wish they still made stuff like this. Throws away cowl. She had her hair sticking out with the cowl. I'm just saying it could have worked. She is Batgirl, not Robin Girl. Yeah, bad heaters. It's a very big population, Gotham. 10 million. A little over half of LA. For where CGI and green screens were, this film also does a really good job being big. I remember having this bat toy, like the icy Batman suit, and how cool that was, and how unrealistic it is for the character. But that bat suit is awesome and ridiculous, complete with like brass knuckles on the hands. Michael's done the research. Double check the toys online. No hair. If you're watching this later, you've been updated. No hair on the toys. Makes sense. Great stunt guys in that suit. That's hard to move in. That's impressive. And that 75-pound Mr. Freeze suit. Like, you'd have to be Arnold. Major nostalgia kick Googling those toys, I imagine. I do recommend everyone that watches this later, have yourself a good Google. Look at the posters for these, look at the old trailer. It's really fun to look at the comic books around this time. Just unlock those parts of your brain to have those happy dopamine feels. All those diamonds. Solar power. He said he was against it earlier because people first, and here we are. Batman don't give a fuck. Hang on, scientists. I mean, I guess pressing time issues, but... Bomb. Dude got unsuper soldiered. Got decaptained America. Cape's so impractical, but so cool visually. It's interesting they kept Robin in a cape in all the outfits. Because they're cool looking. Where does he get all those wonderful toys? My favorite Batman fact, my favorite George Clooney fact, is that George Clooney, with the money that came from doing this movie, not his salary for this movie, but like him getting A-list roles because of this movie, George Clooney actually owns a satellite, and he used it to help humanitarian efforts in the Middle East. So Bruce Wayne using a satellite in this film to save Gotham. George Clooney uses his satellite, which he owns, to help people. George Clooney making those Bruce Wayne moves. Pretty fucking cool. I don't think the satellites have mirrors on them, but why start thinking about science now? We've lost Michael McCarstle to Google. He is deep in the Google hole. He is asking for help. No one can save you, Michael. You've gone too far. There's no coming back from this. Just stay off eBay. Dangerous. I like that dude making sure he gets his money. The dog's okay. Anybody's worried. It's midnight, bruh. Great bat ending right here. Dude has an iPhone in 97. I was worried you were on eBay, Michael. I was worried. Here we are. Also impressive he did this acting with those contacts, because those are a bitch. Even on Blu-ray, the makeup's incredible. And even in Help, great little punny line, or not punny, but like figure of speechy line. That's a funny good point. Michael says, I'd imagine the context help performance, he's supposed to be in pain after all. It's a fair point, the frustration and pain. Quality bat chin. Good work, Clooney. Good genetics, Clooney parents. And Alfred becomes Mr. Freeze too. Yeah, the suit in the dark is dope. From a turtleneck to a hoodie, Bruce Wayne. Right? Heartwarming as fuck. Alfred, Michael, go. Put in the work, all 4 movies. Great hair, Alicia Silverstone. That's why she didn't get the cow. Great hair. There's that score. End of franchise. Batman Triumphant was not so triumphant, and then Batman Triumphant never came to be. But we got this little closeout. We got bat nipples. We got a lot of bat butts. We had a strange movie for a little over 2 hours. It is as weird as I remember. It is as colorful as I remember. It's a little better than I remember. It's actually a little more fun just because you kind of like accept where it is in the pantheon. I agree with Kevin Feige. It's extremely important because it helped us turn the tide. And look at that, Bane getting first bill in there. Interesting. That was an interesting way to do the credits. I'm not sure why it went UPM and then he got... Anyway, strange. I also love the run at the camera. The Billy Corgan song here, I still love to this day. Excellent choice. Yeah, that was like, you know, a C-, D+, but it's a fun watch. It's stunning visually. Production design, incredible. More Billy Corgan and things, I suppose. This was, again, thank you to the great Michael McCarstle, who says, as a little kid, I never understood why we never got a sequel. I need to go to the alternate timeline where it happened. You know, with enough digging, maybe you can find the scripts, because I know they incorporated a lot of it into, like we talked about, Arkham Knight, but I'm wondering if there somewhere is a Batman Triumphant script. It might exist. Because of how far along your production was. So it might be out there. You might get that alternate timeline up here. What a journey, you guys. Thank Michael McCarstle for being the patron saint of Watchalongs, the reason we can do these once a month. We have completed the 4-film Bat Saga, starting with number 2. 2, 3, and 4 accomplished. We'll be back in June with something else entirely. This was great. And in June, I'll be watching Hearts Beat Loud for AJ Lancaster. If you want to check out my Hero Academia 2 Heroes review, I did that for Mr. John Getz, who has been with us for the first hour of this. Thank you to everyone who was in here. We had Michael McCarstle throughout, as he is the sponsor of this glory. We had Joseph Ashley. We had my mom in here. We had Curtis popped in for a minute. We got Travis Earl. I appreciate each and every member of the Koi Pond not being monsters. It's always nice to hang out with you lovelies. These are always a good time, and we'll be back with a very, very different thing, I'm sure, in June. We'll keep you posted. Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm sure some of those early scripts exist. I've done some digging, but never that deep. Who knows what you can find on the internet? Who knows? Especially with the Snyder Cut and people being so hungry for this kind of thing. Maybe. Speaking of the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder just came out and said... that there's a director's cut of Sucker Punch. I've seen it. It's very good. So perhaps that'll get released. I can't wait for you to fully catch up on My Hero Academia anime. I'm hopeful. Yeah, maybe me and John will do that one again for June. I'll keep progressing because I'm less and less far behind because it takes so much time to make them because they're fucking beautifully animated. So maybe that'll be next. All right, that's going to do it for this patron watch along. Thank you to everyone who's watching this live. Thank you to everyone who's watching this later on. I appreciate all of you. Thank you to Michael McCarstle again for being the patron of watch alongs. And Michael says, we're going to close out with this note, which is very funny to me. Once it loads, I see the top of it. I'd honestly watch the sequel to this before I'd ever rewatch the Snyder Cut. I'm going to leave it right there. Joel Schumacher, rest in peace, you beautifully talented man. I appreciate all of your work, even these crazy, crazy movies. And so does Michael McCarstle, who'd watch another one in a second before he'd watch the Snyder Cut. I'm going to leave it right there. How do you top that? Thank you, Bat Saga, for being crazy and weird. Thank you for that running away from the bat signal at us right into our hearts. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, Koi Pond.